All right, good morning, ladies. Uh, so what we're going to do for today's class, we're going to continue to look at the, the contributions of the Africans, and today I'm going to focus mainly on the religion, Afro-Caribbean religion. And so we're looking at African religious contribution to the Caribbean. Uh, the reason why I'm going to look at Afro-Caribbean religion is because there are sometimes in the exam, and we have examples in the exam that they will ask you to write an essay on a particular religion, right? Or a particular Caribbean festival. So sometimes they ask you about the Indian festivals in Trinidad and Ghana. Sometimes they will ask you about the African religions. Sometimes they will ask you to write an entire essay in the exam about Rastafarianism. But we will look at that, the Rasta part of that next year. But for now, we're going to look at just a few of the African religions, right? And so the first thing is that in the Caribbean, we have something we don't, all right, we do not have the pure form of African religion in the Caribbean. We do not have the pure form. So what we do have is a mix between Christianity and some elements of the African. How they dress, some of the rituals, some of the dance, the singing, and all of these. So what we're going to do is that I'm going to show you some videos um, to on the various different Afro-Caribbean religion in the British Caribbean. We're not going to look at Santeria. Santeria is in Cuba and Voodoo is in Haiti. So I just want to look at the ones that have the more Christian element of it. All of them have Christian element. The one that seems closer to Christianity, but still have some African. So we have here a video that I'm going to show. And this video is going to give you some information on one of our former prime minister, Edward Seaga. No, Edward Seaga was an anthropologist, and anybody know what's the role of an anthropologist?
They study the characteristics of a specific society.
Yes, they do. Yes, great. So they look at the specific society. So in reality, all scholars study society, but the difference between a historian and an anthropologist is that an anthropologist goes into the community and actually live with the people, right? So if I'm going to study about dancehall, right? As an anthropologist, I just don't go and take up books and read about dancehall or go and watch a dancehall session, all right? Or maybe visit a dancehall session. Same thing with carnival. Uh, if you are studying about carnival, you don't just go to a carnival alone. Uh, or you take up a book and study about carnival. That's how the sociologists and the historians tend to operate. But with the anthropologists, what they do is that if you're studying on a particular topic, you go into the area and you live that experience. You live it. I have a few friends who are anthropologists, and it's not a discipline that is, um, anthropology is not a discipline that we know about in the Caribbean, as in, it is not something that is popular in the Caribbean, where our parents would encourage us, or maybe you might be the one that is the first time you're hearing about anthropology. The However, if when I was going to school or when I started university, I think I would have, if you had offered anthropology, if I had any idea about anthropology, maybe I would have uh, go ahead and study anthropology instead of doing straight history. So with my friends who have done anthropology, uh, they're anthropologists. I have one of them, which is Professor Charles Carnegie. He would have studied markets from Jamaica, has lived in the US, studied in the US, and he would have studied about markets, how vendors operate in places like like Barbados and St. Lucia. So what he did was that he went into the field, lived in Barbados, operate like a vendor, so you basically try to live the experience to gain information. I did an anthropological work already about markets in Jamaica. And so part of it, and it's very excited, I went to the various markets, dressed up like I was going to the market, also had at one point uh, went with fruits and sell in the market because I wanted to find out more about the lived experience of the different groups that I was studying at the time. So if, for example, some people who are studying uh, carnival, a friend of mine studied carnival in Trinidad. He's from, where that place in the US? Louisiana, that state in the US. And so he went to Trinidad, lived in Trinidad for 3 years, and studied the activities surrounding carnival, participate in the activity. So when he was writing his report, he was given a different perspective. He was given the real life perspective of what would have happened. I'm saying all of this because Edward Seaga also was an anthropologist, and he's from Jamaica, went abroad, I believe he was at Harvard University, and he studied anthropology, came to Jamaica to do this field research on revivalism, and he got involved in the religion, very, very involved. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to, I'm going to show you a little clipping from about Edward Seaga and the religion. Are you seeing the screen?
Sir.
You are you hearing it, ladies?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Revivalism is an Afro-Jamaican folk religion that emerged in Jamaica during the 1860s. The Most Honorable Edward Seaga, upon his return from undergrad studies in the United States of America, went to do research into the Afro-folk retentions in Buxton Town, St. Anne. Here he researched and documented numerous revival groups and their practices. Mr. Seaga felt that this indigenous art form exemplified the cultural ethos of the Jamaican spirit. On Wednesday, June 19, the revival movement in Jamaica hosted a revival candlelight table at the Tivoli Gardens Community Center. This event was mounted as a tribute to his contribution to enhancing the knowledge and visibility of revivalism as an Afro-Christian religious movement.
We anticipated this kind of turnout. What we did not anticipate is the amount of groups that took part in the proceedings. We expected about 40, 45. The last count we had was about 65 churches from right across the country, as far as Westmoreland, Hanover, Clarendon, St. Mary. A tremendous turnout. It is an indication that the revival movement is still strong. And one of the things that is surprising to me is the amount of young people that is involved in this. And I think it's a tremendous indication of what is to come, you know, and we are exceedingly happy. I think Mr. Seaga is feeling very proud of what has taken place. And, you know, I think it's a fitting way to say farewell to him.
Because of his work and close association with the members of the movement, it is said that he was given the title of shepherd. In acknowledgement of such endorsement, when Mr. Seaga became Prime Minister in 1980, he hosted revival candlelight tables both at Devon House and Jamaica House. Several churches from across the island have come together to celebrate the life of one they considered their own.
I'm really happy to see the turnout that we have. It may be difficult for some people to understand and relate to it, but what is important to me is that we have fulfilled one of the things that Mr. Seaga would have loved for us to do. We have recognized his people, and they have been given an opportunity to say goodbye.
The table, or in revival language, the board, consists of 89 candles. Each one represents each year of his life on earth.
Tonight we are giving thanks for his life. You notice the table there with the candle? Represent the years of his life. The 12 valves of flowers represent God and his 12 disciples. All the drinks and things made by the people, and he said, and see the multitude, he went up into the mountain. When he was set, and his disciples come unto him, and he opened his mouth and taught them, blessed are the pure in heart. Now, Mr. Seaga was a pure in heart man. You couldn't take him in on the foolishness with revival. He knows it from the depth. He studied it. From 12 Salt Lane until now, his dying day, he respects revival people. And this is why tonight their turnout is so huge, because he makes revival people know that they are serving a true and living God. So this is why we are here tonight, to give thanks and praise for the life he lived and the understanding that he gave unto us. May God ever rest his soul. Perpetual light shine upon him and gracious. The Lord lift up his countenance upon him and give him peace.
There is a head table on which special candles for the family are placed, and there is the body, which is amply decorated with flowers and candles for the church family.
Mr. Seaga is a gentleman who pays a lot of attention to the revival church, visit various celebration, convention, table, and a lot of people have the wrong concept about the revival table. It is just celebration. There's nothing about it that can harm you because I'm in it from I was about 7 and I'm going 50 and climbing. This community, Tivoli Garden, I used to live down here. Then I moved up to Denham Town and I moved somewhere else, but I'm still here. I am rejoicing that a celebration like this could put on for Mr. Seaga. I know you know that he wrote a book on revivalism. And for that cause and reason, I am not ashamed. To Jamaica at large and the world, this church came here with our forefathers from Africa. And a lot of other church came out of this revival church. Because many top members in other church was doctrinated from this church. So the revival is nothing that will hurt you. We light candles, we dance, we shout, and it's all about rejoicing, celebration.
In honor of the shepherd, the bishops are robed and then enter into worship.
And we're just totally overwhelmed by the outpouring of love that we've been receiving from people from all walks of life. It just really warms our heart to know that the nation is mourning with us. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Andrew Seaga. I'm also overwhelmed just by the outpouring of support. Every day I'm reading more and more about my father and how he's made Jamaica what it is today, how he shaped the country, the fabric of the country, and I'm really proud of him, and I'm just pleased to be a Jamaican and to be part of this moment as well.
The Most Honorable Edward Seaga will be laid to rest at the National Heroes Park in Kingston.
All right, ladies. So that is all right. So that is one of the videos that gives us some information about Edward Seaga and his role in the revival movement. Now, one of the very interesting things that I believe it's the Minister of Culture, Olivia Babsy Grange, who I believe is also a member of the revival group in Jamaica. And she mentioned in her little clip right there that she said a lot of people in Jamaica would not understand the what Jamaican, well, the revival church. Anybody agree or disagree with her? What's anyone want to share? All right, so our next video that we will be sharing on is spiritual baptism in Barbados. And in Barbados, the what we have as the in Jamaica, what we call revivalism is what their version of it in the Eastern Caribbean is spiritual baptism. So it's one and the same. All right. It's a much shorter video. Oh, right.
shall make believe. And one of these men betrayed Jesus. Sometimes you have to be careful with the people that are close to you. Who you think isn't. And who you think isn't is. So brethren, while we continue on this journey, I pray that God will put strength in your ankle bone.
Acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, thy strength and thy Redeemer, taught the disciples to praise thee. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. He made of me like a green pastures, living in silent still water, restore my soul. Righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
All right, ladies, so we are going to move on to another one. And this is from St. Vincent. And so those were the spiritual Baptists in Saint Vincent, and also the spiritual Baptist movement, which is very much similar to the revivalism, is also a very strong part of Trinidad. In fact, just like how we have National Heroes Day here in Jamaica, where we celebrate national heroes, in Trinidad and Tobago, there's a national holiday that is called the Spiritual Baptist. So that's a day where everyone in the country dress in their African wear and they go to different spiritual Baptist church services, right? And so, and the prime minister, the opposition leader, members of government also visits these churches, and they are also very much a part of the movement. The where so first thing I'm going to show is a news clip from Trinidad.
Says it is his hope that as we commemorate the resilience of the spiritual Shouter Baptist, may we be inspired to draw strength from their triumph over difficulty. In his message on the occasion of Spiritual Shouter Baptist Liberation Day, the Prime Minister said in our personal lives we may face challenges that seem insurmountable. He said if we choose to live by the example of the Spiritual Shouter Baptist, emulating their courage and tenacity, we know that we too can overcome. Opposition leader Kamla Prasad Bisesa said the indomitable spirit of the Baptist community is noteworthy. Their capacity to persist and prosper in times of significant adversity is an example for Trinidad and Tobago as a whole. She said today, as we face trying times and challenges in our nation, we can look to spiritual Shouter Baptists for inspiration and, as they did, seek to keep hope and faith alive.
And in most Caribbean countries, the religion was banned in the 18th. It was banned where people were not allowed to practice that form of religion. Most recently in Jamaica, we have our own prime minister and the opposition leader, and quite a lot of prime ministers would have visited revivalist churches and allowing the movement to have some form of visibility. One such is Andrew Olness. All right, ladies. All right. So where am I? The so that's some of the clippings about our Afro-Caribbean religion in the Caribbean, well, in Jamaica, St. Vincent. Uh, we would have also looked at Barbados and in Trinidad, in which it is recognized in a very big way in Trinidad and Tobago, because in Trinidad and Tobago they have it as a holiday, a national holiday there. The so what I'm going to ask you to do now is where is good. What are some of the observations that you have made from the video? One observation, asking students to state the observation.
Sir?
Go ahead, Keith.
So for all the groups that you just showed a while ago, sir, I noticed that all of them have a really
You're 1 second, Keith. You're
usually it's a flowy garment for the hands. Oh,
Go
no.
ahead again, Keith. It broke up a little.
Better adjectives, please. So, sir, I was saying in terms of clothing, they wear long, like the females, they wear long skirts. It goes all the way down. They can't see anything except them shoes. And their skirts are not fitted. So it's always flowy. And for the male, they wear big pants and it's always full pants. And they're always dancing and having a good time in true with respect to our roots, sir.
All right, very good. Very good. Thank you very much, Case. Anyone else? Any observation?
Sir,
Yes, go ahead.
I noticed that they wear a lot of African clothing.
That's one. Very much Afrocentric, especially the head tie. Both the males and the females tend to wear the head tie in the movement. Anyone else?
Sir,
Yes, go ahead.
they're very energetic, like with the Bible verses when they're reading it or with the songs, they maintain an upbeat energy.
All right, very good. And there's one thing that you need to know is that dancehall also has its roots in the, and dancehall and reggae also has its, they have their roots in the African beat. Just like how the revivalists and the spiritual Baptists, they how they beat the drum and all of these different stuff, that African beat and the movement of the body is the same way in which this free movement of the body uh, in the churches is the same thing that happens in dancehall. And that's one of the reasons why, if you realize, in dancehall, the people in dancehall actually, persons who partake in dancehall music tend to move their bodies and create movement, different dances right on spot, just the same way in the Afro religion. In fact, there's a scholar, two scholars, Donna Hope and Sonia Nair, who would have written Sonia Nair written a book on this, from slave ship to dancehall, where she traced the movement of dancehall from Africa, some of the different movements that we have today from Africa. So it's not only the religion that the African legacy is still present today, but also in our the dancehall setting, the music, the non-secular, the secular area, I should say, it is also present. Any other comment when it comes to the video? There's one thing that I'm trying to pull out from anything. Any observation, Sanchez? Any observation? Sanchez, are you part of the class?
Sarah wanted to say the instruments, the drums, but I'm not sure if I'm right.
No, Sinclair, that's what, yes, you're correct. There's a big emphasis when it comes to drum in the movement. In fact, the instrument, the drum, drumming actually came from Africa. And in fact, a lot of churches, when the Africans brought the drum here to the Caribbean, or when they created different drums in the Caribbean, it was actually banned. The Europeans would have banned drums in the Caribbean. And even in some churches today, drumming is not permitted in some churches, because it is believed that drumming bring evil towards a congregation. So most of the traditional churches don't have drums in as part of their musical instrument. It's mostly European instrument that they use. Even the tambourine. Tambourine is very popular. Some churches don't allow the tambourine. Even Pentecostalism, the Pentecostal movement also is a Afro-American religion. Very much Afro-American. It started around 1905, Azusa Street Revival. I believe that's in California. And if you notice with the Pentecostal movement, there's a lot of emphasis on drum, tambourine, shouting, dance, speaking in tongues, all of that. Very African elements of the religion. There's one other thing, ladies, about this stuff, the videos, is that Caribbean countries are very, very similar. In Jamaica, they might call it revivalism. In Barbados, Trinidad, and St. Vincent and Grenada, they might call it spiritual Baptist. But at the end of the day, we know for sure that these religions are very much similar. Same thing in Haiti. Haiti might call it voodoo, right? The same how you see the people here operate is the same way in which the voodoo congregations operate in Haiti and also in Cuba, where you have Santeria. And so Caribbean countries are very much similar when it comes to the transfer of African religion. And Desmond Mackenzie made a very important point that there's quite a lot of young people who were involved in the movement, the revival movement. And I think that is something that is of great significance that that should be highlighted. It's something that I've never noticed before. That quite a lot of young Jamaicans or young Caribbean people are involved in the revival movement. All right. So, ladies, that's it for today.